that amongst other things, there will be a set of flags that we should take into consideration to check the security. One was Android allow backups, and the other was I
Debug.
think Android debugger. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if the value is true, how would it be like? How can we exploit it? As in, like,
I
let's say,
will be showing that. I will be showing that in next sessions. Okay. So don't
okay,
worry. I will be showing the exploit also. Don't worry.
okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. So today, in previous session, we have installed Bobswood and we have seen how to set up that, right. In today's session, we'll be seeing another dynamic analysis tool, which is Dozer. Okay, so today we'll be seeing how to install Dozer. Okay, so first of all, what is Dozer? So Dozer is a dynamic testing framework which is used for dynamic testing, right? And installation is very easy, guys. What we have to do, first of all, we have to go to this website and we have to download the agent. Okay, so we have to download browser agent in our virtual mobile. So first of all, you have to download this. I have already shared this in the WhatsApp group. So you just have to click on this and the download will start. Okay, so you have to download this. So I have already downloaded this. So you have to download this browser agent app. So once you have downloaded this app, what you have to do, simply you have to drag and drop this app into your virtual mobile or your device. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to drag and drop this in your device. So once you have done, it will automatically open this browser. Now what you have to do, you have to turn this on. You have to turn browser. Okay, so click on this off button and it is saying started on port number 31415. Now what we have to do, our app is already having browser, so we do not have to install this. Okay, so browser is already having. Now what we have to do, we have to connect our ATP. Okay, so sorry, we have to connect our app with the browser, right? So we have to connect our browser tool with this client. What we have to do now, we simply have to first of all type this command ADB forward TCP. What was the port number? The port number was 31415, right? So we have to type TCP 31415. Okay. One more time, we have to type TCP 31415. So what we are doing, this is the browser agent app, which we have installed in our Android mobile, right? Now what we have to do, we have to connect this browser agent with our device. We have to connect with our app, right? For that, we are using this command ADB forward TCP TCP port number, right? Just press enter. Now we have to type this command browser console connect. So once you type this command, what will happen? A new, we could say a new tab will be open in this app itself, right? So just see what is happening. Once I enter this, you could see I'm having this new terminal, what you could say, right? So this is a terminal of browser console, right? So once we write this command, what is happening? Our browser console is open in this tab itself, right? This is the browser console. So I'm giving the command. So first command is basically you have to use this ADB forward port number. Second command, browser console connect, to connect and to open the browser console. So first what you have to do, you have to drag and drop the application, the browser agent, right? So browser agent, you have to drag and drop in Android device. Once you have done this, what you have to do, you have to type this command in your app. Then you have to type the second command. Once done, console will be open. Our browser console will be open. Now, what we could do with the help of browser, we could do a lot of things. We could see manifest, right? Manifest file, we could simply see with the help of browser. We could see the package name. We could see the attack surface. A lot of things could be done with the help of browser. So first of all, let us see. Let us see if we want to know a package name, what we could do. So for that, we have a command run app package dot list f, then the app name. So let us see what app name we have to give. So let me give this job. Okay, job. So you could see, right? So it has given me a package name which is containing this job. right? For example, if I want to search for a package name having phone, so you could see it has given me all the package name which is having phone, right? So this is how we could see package name of a particular application. For example, I want to see package name for this pay, right? So you could see this is the package name for this specific application, xpay.live. Okay, so this is how we could see package name. If you want to see the package name of an application, we could simply type this command, the simplest command that we could use to find the package name. Here, guys, this command. Guys, let me know if this is clear. Okay, and with the help of browser, we'll be basically seeing a lot of vulnerabilities, right? We'll be seeing SQL injection, RCE, LFI. We will be seeing all this vulnerability with the help of browser itself. So we'll be seeing a lot of vulnerability, cryptography related vulnerability, oath related vulnerability, right? We'll be seeing with the help of this browser only. So we'll be seeing a lot of vulnerabilities. So now this is for seeing the package name. So I'm just telling you a few commands. Next command is basically to see the manifest. So we could simply see the manifest by decompiling the application and going to that manifest file. But if we do not want to do that long process, what we could do, simply we could give the package name. So we have to type this command, run app.package.manifest, right? Then we have to give the package name. So this was the package name. So I'm giving this package name. Okay, let me copy this and let me give this. And let me press enter. Now you can see, guys, I'm having the, can you see this, guys? I'm having the manifest file of this specific application. So I'm having the manifest file of this XP app, right? So this is the application, and I'm having the package, like I'm having the manifest of this specific file. So you could simply, if you want to see a manifest, you could simply type this command, run .package.manifest and the package name. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
So this is for package.
Yep.
To see manifest file directly. Now, if we want to see the attack surface, I have already told you what attack surface is. Can anyone tell me what attack surface is? Guys? Okay, correct. Now, if we want to see attack surface of the application, right? For example, you want to see attack surface of an application, what you have to do, simply you have to type this command. Let me explain this. So you have to type run app.package.attack surface. Then you have to type the package name. So let us see. If you want to see the attack surface of an application, simply we have to type this command, and the command is run app.package.attack surface and the package name. So what was the package name? This is the package name that we'll be using. And let me press enter. So you can see this is the attack surface that we are able to see. 6 activities, 1 broadcast, 0 content provider, 1 service exported. So this is how we could see the attack surface of an application. Clear, guys? So this was about browser. Now, when we'll be seeing vulnerabilities, right, SQL injection, right, or any other vulnerability, then we will be seeing this browser. And when we'll be seeing what DOS is, how to find DOS. So we'll be using this browser at that time. Right now, this is the basic command. There are a lot of commands. These are few basic commands. Now, this was about browser. Now, let us move to the vulnerability part. Today, we'll be starting with vulnerability, and we will be starting, we will be using Burp Suite for this, right? So first of all, we will be covering all the vulnerability which are basically the vulnerability we can find with the help of Burp Suite, right? So first of all, we will be seeing what insecure protocol is and vulnerability related to insecure protocols. So first of all, let me close this. Okay, so let me close this app and let me open my Burp Suite. So the first vulnerability that we are going to learn is about insecure protocols. So before insecure, like going to the vulnerabilities, can anyone tell me what insecure protocols are? Anyone? Guys, what is insecure protocol?
Port 80.
No, that is okay. You are giving examples. Explain me the definition. What you when I say what is insecure protocol, what comes in your mind?
Which does not have any encryption process.
Okay, correct. So when we talk about insecure protocol, basically this protocol are insecure, right? And when I'm saying insecure, it is basically referring to the communication protocol that are not considered safe because they are lacking few features such as confidentiality, okay, integrity during the data transmission. So this is why we say insecure protocol. An example of insecure protocol are HTTP, right? FTP, Telnet, SNMP version 1 and version 2 both, right? And FOB. So when I say about insecure protocol, these are few example of insecure protocol. Now, vulnerability related to this insecure protocol. So the first one is data transmission over insecure protocol. So what happens if we are basically, if the data is going over insecure protocol, basically we could do man in the middle attack, right? So this is the first vulnerability that we'll be seeing. And the second is authentication over insecure protocol. And guys, the severity of this vulnerability is basically, we could say low, right? So the severity is low for both of the vulnerability. But yeah, it is good to report when you are doing pen testing. It is very important. And in bug bounty also, sometimes you get bounties. Like I have reported this authentication over insecure protocol, and few times I have I have got couple of dollars. So for example, once I have reported this and I got $180 for this, right? So it depends on the program where you are reporting the bugs. So data transmission over insecure protocol. So how to find it? First of all, you need your burp suite, right? Secondly, what you have to do, you have to open the app in which you want to test. So let us see which application I want to test. And what was the application? Okay, so let us see Job Junction. So this is the application in which I will be testing. I will be sharing this application with you. So this is the application right now. What I have to do, first of all, I have to create an account. Now this one, the second one that I have told you, authentication over insecure protocol. So whenever we are logging into our account, and or whenever we are registering our account in a new app, right? So when we are going to that page in login or register page, and when we are basically clicking on the next button or register button, so what is happening, we have to see if that request is basically using insecure protocol such as HTTP. So what you have to do, you have to go to login page, right? Or you could say register page. Then what you have to do, you have to log in or register, depends. Then what you have to do, you have to capture this request. When you are basically going to the login page or register page, you have to capture this, right? So you have to capture the request. And in workflow, you have to capture this. And what you have to see, you have to see if it is using insecure protocol. So let us see. So what we have to do, this is the application, right? I'm creating a new account. So I'm using random details. I'm turning my intercept on and I'm clicking on register. What I have to do, I have to right click and I have to send this to repeater. And in repeater, I have to see which protocol it is using. So you could see, guys, it is using this HTTP, right? Can you see this?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So this is what is happening. Basically, we are doing authentication over insecure protocol. So this is a vulnerability that you could report simply, right? So this is insecure transmission over. So this is authentication over insecure protocol. Let me forward this and let me turn this off. Now, this was about this authentication over insecure protocol. First thing, right? The second thing, data transmission over insecure protocol. For example, when we are going to an application and we are making some changes, and when we are capturing that request, we have to see if that is insecure protocol. For example, I'm going to this page and I'm going to my profile and I'm going to this edit option. I'm entering something. Okay. I'm clicking mail. I'm clicking, okay, Indian. Now, save. Before clicking on save, turn my intercept on and what is missing? Yeah, date of birth. Save and proceed. If you could see, guys, it is using insecure protocol, right?
Yes.
Can you see? So data transmission over insecure protocol. So this is basically a low level vulnerability, but yeah, you could report it. And the impact is basically, what is the impact? Man in the middle attack is the impact. So this was the vulnerability. First of all, authentication over insecure protocol. Secondly, the data transmission over insecure protocol. So what you have to do, open any app, okay, make some changes in the app, capture the request in verb should send to repeater, see which protocol is used. Clear, guys? So this was about insecure protocols. Now let us move to the next vulnerability. The next vulnerability is about insecure authentication and authorization, basically the OTP related vulnerabilities. So how to find OTP bypass and vulnerabilities related to authentication, right? So insecure authentication and authorization. Now, can anyone explain me what authentication is, guys? What is authentication?
Verifying the person that whom they are claiming.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir. With the method of who is he.
Go ahead.
With the help of methods such like who is he, with the help of tokens, with the help of OTPs.
Yeah, login credentials. Okay. So when I'm
whether
go ahead.
whether the receiver will verify that the message have came from the legitimate user.
Correct, correct. So in simple language, when I say authentication, basically authentication is a check which is made by the application or a website to know the user that is claiming to be legitimate. And this legitimacy is basically done by a secret key which is known as password, right? For example, you are going to a website, you are going to Flipkart, and you are going to the login page, and you have to verify that you are a legitimate user, right? And you have to, for that you have to enter your secret, which is your password, right, guys? So this is authentication. So let me write it down. It is a check which is made by the app to know the user that is claiming to be legitimate. This legitimacy is done by okay. So this is what authentication is. Clear, guys? Now, can anyone tell me types of authentication? Types of authentication.
Username,
Password
password,
based, token,
OTP.
token based, biometric. Three
Okay.
type: what the user is, what the user has, and what the user know.
Yeah, something you have, something you are, and something you know, right? So
Yeah.
this is not
Single
type,
factor.
they are factors. When I say types of authentication, we have single factor authentication, we have two-factor authentication, 2FA, we have three-factor authentication. So when I'm talking about types, we have these three types. When I'm talking about factors, we have something you know, something you have, and something you are, right? So they are factors. Types of authentication, we have three: single factor authentication, two-factor authentication, and multi-factor.
Multi-factor.
Yeah, multi-factor
Multi-factor, yes,
authentication. So the first one, single factor authentication. Can anyone explain me what this is?
Open
Just giving a username or password only.
password.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. What is two-factor?
It's giving some OTP to the mobile or email. Like that.
Okay. And what is 3FA? Or multi-factor authentication?
Multi-factor, we can say biometrics,
Combination of
Okay.
all.
OTP or token.
So when I'm saying about single factor authentication, basically when we are using our username and password, right? Username and password. So this is single factor authentication. In 2FA, basically we first of all we use username and password. Then we basically we secret key is delivered via call, SMS, or email, right? So that is two-factor authentication. In two-factor authentication, we basically have two things. First is something something you know, right? And secondly, something you have. So what I'm trying to explain is basically something you know. What you know the password, right? So something you know is basically the password, right? Something you know is the password. Something you have, what you have a mobile device or a device, right? So something you have, so that OTP or that call is basically sent to a device, right? And that device is owned by you, right? Something you have. So simply you could say call or SMS, right? So when I'm talking about two-factor authentication, basically a secret key is delivered via SMS or call, or I could say email, right? So we have two things: something you know and something you have. Basically, something you know is your password. Something you have is basically your OTP, right? For example, you are going to your Amazon account and the OTP is sent to you, right? So the OTP is going to your phone number only, right? And that phone number is owned by you. So that is something you have. Only you have that number, right, guys? So that is what something you have is. Now, third one is MFA, multi-factor authentication. So what we do in multi-factor authentication, basically, it is the combination of single factor authentication and 2FA, right? So when I talk about multi-factor authentication, it is the combination of single factor authentication as well as 2FA. Now, let me give you a simple example. So the first thing is when I'm talking about combination. So multi-factor authentication is simply basically you are having, first of all, you have to give your password, then you have to give a OTP, right? Then you have to use your fingerprint. For example, you have to use your fingerprint, or you have to use your retina scan, right? So this is what we do in 3FA. So in 3FA or just a minute, guys. So where I was, okay. So in multi-factor authentication, basically it is the combination of single factor and two-factor authentication. Basically, first of all, we have to use a password, then OTP, then fingerprint, right? So in this multi-factor authentication, we basically have three things: something you know, right? Something you have, and something you are. So first thing, something you have. What do you have? You have the password, right, guys? What do we have? We have password. Sorry. What do you know? So what do we know? We know the password, right? Guys, yes or no?
Sir.
Something you know. What do we know? We know the password.
Yeah.
Something you have. What do we have? We have OTP, right? Because it's sent to your phone. Something you are. For example, everyone is having different fingerprint.
Biometric. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone is having different fingerprint. So that is something you are. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Something you are, fingerprint, or I could say retina scan. So this is about this three types of authentication: single factor, 2FA, and multi-factor authentication, right? So this was about this authentication. Now, what is authorization? Anyone?
Privileges defined
Level of
according
access.
to user.
Accessing files or
one by one.
To check where user is authorized or not.
Okay.
how much privileges he has.
Correct. Correct. So let me open my device to show you example. Just a minute. Sorry. Oh, I was mute. So guys, so what is authorization? Basically, authorization is a check which is made by the application system so that only the authorized person can get access to the resource, right? So for example, this is the device. And once you are going to the login page, and for example, let me go to the login page. Okay. Okay. So guys, if you could see in your Windows, sometimes if your device is having multiple users, in your Windows, if you are having multiple users, now you could see I'm having multiple users, right? For example, if I will go to this user and I will enter in my password, I will be only having access which is given to the user, right? If I will be going to admin and I will be entering my password, so I will be having all the access which is given by the admin, right? So admin is having all the access. He's having every single access. He's having all the access of a system, right? But whereas a normal user is not having everything, he's having that on basically he's having all the things which is given by the admin, right? So this is what authorization is. Basically, it is a check made by the application to authorize, to basically authorize person can get the access. For example, you are going to admin page, you are entering your details, right? So you will be getting the access for admin only. Clear, guys? So this is what authorization is. So let me come back. And authorization, basically it is a check made by the app so that only the authorized person get access to a resource. Now for example, there is admin and second there is a user, right? So user will having specific things and admin will be having everything, right? In authorization we have two types. So when I'm talking about types of authorization, we have two types. Can anyone tell me types of authorization?
Vertical operation, like
No. That is actually, we basically see that in Windows. Sorry, we see that in privilege escalation, right? So that is other thing. Right now, I'm talking about type of authorization. So we have two types of authorization. First is role based, and second one is rule based. So role based is basically, as I've explained you earlier, admin, user, system. So this is role-based authorization. So basically, let me give you an example. So an example, what I'm telling you, there is a company, okay, and that company, basically there might be few roles such as employee, manager, and then it would be admin, right? So these are three different roles. Now what is happening? The employee is only having read access to few files, right? But manager, he is having read and write access to few files. But in case of admin, what is happening? Admin is having all access, right? He's having all access. He could write, he could read, he could delete a file. So this is role-based authorization. Basically, an employee is having some, he could only access few files. Manager could access few files. He could read it and he could write it. Admin is having all the access. He could do everything what he needs, right? So this is role-based. Rule-based is basically you are working in a, for example, you are working in a finance company. So let me say that you are working in a finance company. So what is happening? There is financial record in that company. You are working in the finance department and there is a financial record in your company. So you could only access this financial record between a limited time period, which is given by the admin. So for example, you could only access this from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., right? So this is rule-based. So what is the rule? That only the employee who are working in the finance department can access the financial record, and they could only access between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Right, guys? So for example, I'm going to log in with my my login credentials. So I can only access this financial record between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So this is rule-based. This is rule-based and this is role-based. Clear, guys, everyone? So these are types of authorization, role-based and rule-based. So if you are a fresher or even if you are working, so a lot of times they will
Could you please give the recap for rule-based once again?
Go ahead.
Can you please give once again the rule-based? Explain it again.
Yeah. So for example, what are rule-based? So in rule-based, basically we set basically the admin is setting few set rules. For example, you are working in the finance department, right? You are an employee. You are working in a, for example, you are working in a bank, and in that bank there is a finance department. And what is happening? I'm the admin. I'm giving everyone who is working in the finance department a rule. Basically, they could access the financial record. Okay, they could access the financial record of the company, such as payment details, everything, right? But they could only access that details between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on weekdays, right? On weekdays. So this is a rule which is set by the admin. So I'm the admin. Basically this is the company. So let us take the for example, CyberHost. CyberHost is a company. In that company there is a department, finance department, and there are 10 employees, right? So what I'm doing, I'm the admin. What I'm doing, I'm basically setting a rule. And in that rule, what I'm saying, that all the employees which are who are working in this finance department can only access the financial record between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on weekdays. If they will try to log in, for example, an employee from this finance department is trying to log in on Sunday, so he could not access it, right? If he's even trying in weekdays, for example, he's trying to log in into his account at 2:10 p.m., right? He will not be able to get access of this financial record, because the admin is already given a rule, and the rule is basically that you could only access the system from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Right, guys? Clear? Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Basically, a rule is set by the admin or by the high manager of the company. For example, it depends on the companies, right? So there are different rules. For example, if you are working in a company, right? For example, my one friend is working in like this Wipro. So what happens sometimes, they could only log into their systems when they are in their working shift. For example, if his working shift is from like 10 p.m. to morning 5 a.m., right? So he could only access his machine in that time duration, right, guys? So this is what rule-based is. Simple example. The finance one is the simple example that I could give you. Am I clear, everyone? So in interviews, a lot of times they will simply ask this type of questions, like types of authorization and what are authentication, different types of authentication. So you should remember these things, right? Now let us come to the vulnerability, the main thing that we are here to discuss. 2FA bypass, or simply I could say OTP bypass. So a lot of you know how to do OTP bypass in web application. Yes, guys, how many of you know how to bypass OTP in web application? Anyone? 2FA bypass, OTP bypass in websites, right? So the method is same in Android device also, in Android apps also. The method that we will be using is similar to the thing that we do in web application, right? So if you want to find OTP bypass or 2FA, bypass, what we have to do, it is very simple. So let us see. So I will be using this application. This is a real application. And guys, the application that I'm showing you in this class, please do not report the vulnerability in that application, right? Because these applications are basically for showing purposes. So if you will report this vulnerability to the company, they will basically patch it, right? And you will not get anything because Indian companies do not pay you anything. So let it be, do not report any vulnerability that I will be teaching you. Basically, these are for teaching purposes. So do not report any vulnerability that I will be showing you. Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is a real application. You could simply go to your phone and you could search for this Raj Academy, right? So in this application, we will be seeing how to bypass OTP. So let us wait. So this is the application, right? Now for bypassing OTP, we have a lot of ways, right? We have a lot of ways. First of all, we could simply bypass. We could bypass with the help of changing the response code, right? Or we could say the response status code. So the first thing how we could do this OTP bypass is changing the response status code. What is status code, guys? Can anyone tell me? I think in that HTTP assignment you have learned about this status code. HTTP status code. Tell me.
So just like 200 for successful.
Yeah, 100, 200, 300, right? 400, 500.
500.
So these are status code, right? So for example, from 100 to 199, or from 200 to 299, from 300 to 399, right? So these are status code. So these are status code, right? Now, first of all, we have to see if, like, for example, for what we have to do, I will be teaching you, don't worry, changing the response status code. For example, if we are getting 400 error, you could simply change it by 200 success, right? If we are getting a status code of 400, we could simply replace it by 200. So this was changing the response status code. Second thing is basically with the help of changing response body. What is response body? Changing response body. Response body is basically, for example, if you have seen, if you are entering a wrong OTP, we will be getting incorrect OTP, right? We will be getting incorrect OTP, or we will be getting not valid, right? So if you are getting this type of things, what you have to do, valid. So what you have to do, if you are getting incorrect, you simply have to remove in from that sentence and you have to write correct OTP, correct OTP. So what we are doing basically, we are changing response body. Okay, so we are, first of all, we are sending the request of that incorrect OTP and we are basically getting the response. So what we are doing in response, we are changing that incorrect into correct and not valid into valid. So let me show you an example for this, right? So let me show an example for this also. Let me log into my mail. So the first way is basically by changing the response status code. Second is basically by changing the response body. There are a lot of ways, right? There are plenty of ways for OTP bypass. Attachment. So this is a video. This is a OTP bypass that I have found. Okay. So let us see what I'm doing. So first of all, I'm entering a wrong OTP. If you could see, I'm just entering a random OTP, random 6-digit number. Just see what I'm doing. First of all, it is sending OTP, right? Now what I will be doing, I will be just entering some random digit. Okay. Now once I have entered the random digit, before clicking on continue, I will turn on my intercept, right? Now I will click on continue. So now we have to see the request. Okay, we have to see this request. Forward it, forward it. Now you could see this is the OTP that we entered, right, guys? Can you see this? Now what we have to do once we are in this page, so the steps are similar, whether it be web or Android. If you are doing this OTP bypass, all the steps are similar. Only difference is that we are testing on web application. So what we have to do now, we have to right click on our verb suite, okay, and we have to click on do intercept response to this request, okay. And now let us see. Okay, now if you could see something, first of all, I'm getting an error 499 unknown. Can you see this, guys?
sir.
So first of all, what I will be doing, I will be changing the status code. So I will be changing this to 200 success. And then what I will be doing in this invalid confirmation ID, I will basically remove this IN and I will type valid. And in this confirmation code does not match, I will remove this not. So first of all, what I am doing in this only, I will first of all removing the status code. So first thing that I'm doing is basically status code, right? I'm basically changing the status code. Secondly, what I'm doing, I'm changing the response body. So see what is happening. You could type valid or correct, either will work, okay. Now I will forward this request, okay. Now you could see I'm having this verified, right? Previously I was not having. If you could see, I'm not having this. Now once I have completed, you could see I'm having this verified option, right? So this is how you could do this OTP bypass. So this is the report. If you could see, I have written invalid. So what I have done, first of all, I have just made few changes. So this was 499 unknown. I have done this to 200 success. And in this also invalid, I have written correct. So I'm giving this response code. So you could see this. Okay. So this is the request that we made, and this is the response, okay, that I have changed, right? I have basically written 200 success, and then I have written this correct also. So this is what we have done. First of all, we have done both things. So we have done changing response body because we have done this correct, right? And secondly, we have also done this status code because we have changed the status code from 499 to 200, right? So we have done both things. Now let me show you one more way to do this OTP bypass. Just a minute. Let me find one of the POC. So many of you know Apni Kaksha, right? Basically, our application which is owned by Aman Agarwal. How many of you know him?
Sir.
So when he launched his application, at that time his application was having a lot of vulnerabilities, right? So one of the vulnerability was OTP bypass also. So see what I'm doing. Simply I'm writing random number, okay. I'm clicking on send OTP. Enter any random digit. Turn on the intercept, click on verify OTP, right click. So this is a POC from 2021, right? This is very old, but yeah. So you have to right click, do intercept, forward this request. Now what I will be doing, I will be simply changing this status code 200 and invalid to valid, and I will be changing this 400 bad request to 200 success request. Finding OTP bypass is very easy, guys. Like previously, on 10 July, I got a bounty of $120 for this OTP bypass. So finding OTP bypass is very easy. You just have to follow the simple steps. Now you could see I have simply bypassed the OTP. If you could see, guys, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is how we could simply bypass the OTP, right? Bypassing OTP is very easy. Okay. Now let us see this in real time. So this is the application we'll be using. Now I have to create an account. So I'll be using random details. Let me give can anyone give his number so I could just show him? Anyone? Give me your number.
63.
Just type in message. Just type the number in the message. Okay. So this is Priyanshu's number. Okay. Email ID. Let me give a random email ID. And location. Let me give it. Okay. Now what I have to do? I have to click on this create account. Before it, I have to turn my intercept on. And let me click on create account. This is the request. What I have to do? I have to right click. I have to click on do intercept. Response to this request. Forward it. And guys, if you could see, I'm having OTP in the response. Can you see this? This is the OTP that I'm getting. And Priyanshu, if you will check, the same OTP is sent to your phone also, right? Priyanshu, if you will verify, this same OTP is sent to your phone also, correct?
Yes, sir, Sam. Yeah, right.
So this is OTP bypass. Now what is happening? Previously, we have seen by making the we were changing the status code, right? And we were making some changes in the response body. But now what we are doing? Can anyone tell me what we are doing right now? What is happening? Why this OTP is basically leaking? So the reason is basically the OTP is leaking in the response. So basically, you could simply say the leakage of OTP in response, right? So this was the response that we were receiving, and the OTP is leaking in response. So let me use this OTP, right? So the OTP was 5. What was the OTP? 5669. Confirm. Can you see, guys? I'm able to log in with any number, right? If I want, I could log in with any one number. If I want to, I could log in with Justpreet number. I could log in with any one number, right? So this is how we could do this OTP bypass. So this was basically leaking response code. Okay. Now this was the first thing, right? We have seen OTP bypass right now. Let us make this more interesting. What we have done, we have find OTP bypass. Finding OTP bypass is very easy. There are multiple ways, by changing status code, by basically changing the response body, or sometimes the OTP is also we could see the OTP in response, right? But there is one more thing that we could do. We could basically brute force the OTP. You could brute force the OTP also, but most of the programs will say NA, right? Because it takes a lot of time. So if the application is lacking brute force protection, so you could try this also, okay, with the help of intruder. So let us see. So this is how we could do OTP bypass, right? Now, let us see what is IDOR. So we'll be seeing IDOR. So this was about OTP bypass. Clear, guys? There are a lot of ways to bypass OTP. Okay. So these are few of them. Now, next thing we'll be seeing is basically IDOR. What is IDOR? Can anyone explain me what is IDOR? Full form?
Insecure directed reference.
Okay. Anyone has found IDOR? Anyone? Have you ever found any IDOR?
No, sir.
No one? Guys?
Yes, sir. Like I found IDOR in TCS site. So
Okay.
in our college, so there is using TCS service for managing their students' data.
Okay.
So I found IDOR in that platform.
Okay. So what is IDOR? So the full form of IDOR is Insecure Direct Object Reference. So in simple language, let me explain it. So this is a vulnerability, right? In this vulnerability, what is happening? If the vulnerability is present, the attacker is able to access, manipulate, or modify an ID which should not be allowed. For example, this is a website, right? This is an example, HTTPS abc.com. Then there is a user profile. And this user profile is simply having ID, and this ID is having 1, 2, 3. So for example, right now, this is the ID number of, let me see, this is my ID number, right? I am logged in into this application abc.com with the ID number 1, 2, 3. So every time you are logging into an application, there is a ID which is given to you, a user ID, right? Guys, just a minute. Hello. Okay. Guys, I will be back in 2 minutes. Just wait. Sorry guys, there was an order from Big Basket. Sorry. Okay. So IDOR. So what is happening when you are going to an application or a website? So every time you are going to the login page and you are basically you are logged in into that application. So what is happening? Every time there is a user ID given to you, right? So every user is having a user ID. So this is my user ID, right? I'm into this abc.com website. I'm having this user ID. What if I will change this user ID? I will change this user ID. What happened? I will change this user ID to 4. So what I'm able to do now, I'm simply able to access someone else's account. Right. So what if I'm able to change this and I'm able to make it? Oh. Okay, what if I'm able to make it 4 instead of 3, right? So what is happening? I'm able to get to Sam account, right? So this is IDOR. So I'm able to see information of Sam account. For example, I'm able to see his phone number details, right? So this is what IDOR is. Now, basically with the help of IDOR, we could make unauthorized changes. We could basically increment the ID parameter and we could see other user data, right? So this is what IDOR is. Basically, IDOR also leads to PII disclosure, personal identifiable information. So we'll be seeing what IDOR is. Let us see the practical. So, okay. So what we have to do, first of all, you want to if you want to test any application, you could go and you could test any application, right? Right now we are seeing this application. So what you have to do, you have to basically find a parameter where there is user ID or anything related to ID. So what I have to do, I have to turn on my intercept and I have to search for that ID parameter. So let me go to my profile, okay, and see if I'm having any ID parameter. So you could see I'm having this ID parameter, right, guys? So what I will be doing, I will be sending this to the repeater. And in repeater, what I have to see if I'm getting any details. So this is the details that I'm getting, right? This is my details, right? This is my details. What if I'm able to manipulate this? Let us see if we are able to manipulate this. Instead of 3, let me write 2. Now you could see I'm able to get someone else's detail, right, guys? So right now this is a high severity vulnerability. But what we want to do, we want to make it critical. So what we could do, simply we know that the application is having OTP bypass, right? The application is having OTP bypass and also the application is having IDOR. So what we could do with the help of this, how we could change this to vulnerability to make it more impactful. Can anyone tell me? Let me tell you. Sorry. So we already know that the application is having OTP bypass, right? And we are able to see someone else's details also, right? We are able to see their personal identifiable information such as their name, their location, their mobile number, their email. So what we could do, we could log in from this number, right? We could simply log in with this number or not, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Application is OTP bypass, right? So if I'm able to log in with this app with this number, so what we are able to do, we are able to do account takeover. This is a critical vulnerability because we are simply able to log in into anyone's account. So this is account takeover. Clear, guys? So this is how we basically chain vulnerability. We are chaining OTP bypass with IDOT and then we are reporting it as an account takeover, right? So this is how we could find IDOT. Finding IDOT is very easy, guys. So this is just one of the example of finding IDOT. You simply have to find this ID parameter and you have to manipulate it. So I'll be okay. So this is the thing. Let me make some changes in the details. Okay, so this is how this will look. Okay, guys. Now you could find. Let me show you some POC also. So this is one more POC. So sometimes what happens in IDOR, you could also see the password of other users, right? Sometimes the password is also there. Let me show you. Okay, where is the application? This is the application. IDOR. Okay, so this is the video. same app, Aman Datarwal app, Apni Kaksha. So see what I'm able to do. So this is also showing me the user ID, right? So let me send this to repeater. And what I'm doing in repeater, once I'm sending this request, see, it is showing all the details. Not only my personal details, it is also showing the password. Can you see this, guys? It is not even encrypting the password. Can you see this? It is
Yes, sir.
even not encrypting the password.
Yes, sir.
So what
Yeah.
we could do now, we could simply change the user ID. We could make it anything and we could see anyone's details, right? So let me change it. Let me change it to 7, right? Let me send it. Now I will see I'm having someone else's detail, right? And even the password also. And this is the correct password. So this is how you could simply find IDOR, right? And this is a critical level IDOR. Depends. If the application is only disclosing some specific things, for example, if it is disclosing only profile, like if you are able to see anyone's profile, right? If you are able to see anyone's profile image, so that is simply a low level IDOR. But if you are able to see their personal information, that is a high level vulnerability. If you are able to see more sensitive details, that is a critical level. So it depends. So the one I have showed you is critical as well as medium. So this is what we have covered today. So first of all, we have learned what browser is, how to set up browser. Then we have seen insecure protocol. Then we have seen OTP bypass. And then at the last, we have seen OTP bypass. Sorry, this IDOR. Tomorrow we'll be seeing this LFI and SQL injection. Okay, guys. Yeah, it was using HTTP protocol because HTTP protocol is a insecure one. HTTPS is the secure one. So this was about today. And guys, please see all the videos because the project will be related to this Android only. I will be discussing that once we have completed the syllabus. So I will be taking classes 2 or 3 days more. Then we'll be finishing this. So yeah, any doubt, please let me know, anyone. Guys, if you are having any doubt, please let me know.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we also access the SQL library?
Like in which the SQL vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could.
Like because we have already accessed the folders inside the URL.
Yeah, if the device is rooted, right, you could access it.
Okay. So is it must to the device should be rooted?
Yeah, to find vulnerabilities. So we like if you want to find vulnerabilities such as LFI, SQL injection, RC, then you must have rooted device.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all for today. Guys, if you are having any doubt, let me know.
These which are the practical you show, we have to test on the Android emulator now.
Yeah, I will be